Hello everyone, my name is Richie and welcome back to another video. Today join me for a first look at the brand new Carlisle Volume 4 military with these wonderful looking wagons and stuff. Look at this. So as we've got a Class 47 roaring in the background over there, we've got this new Carlisle pack to look at, which looks quite interesting to be fair, something a little bit different. So yeah, this pack brings in a couple of military style services, obviously hauling tank looking things and also some like Jeep military vehicles. It looks really interesting to be fair. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at the pack on the two routes that it comes to, which is this one, West Coast Main Line over Shap and Great Western Express. And yeah, we're going to take a little look at a couple of different services. So yeah, let's jump into it and have a little look at Carlisle Volume 4. Of course, before we jump into it, I do want to say a massive thank you to Dovetail Games for providing a game key to show this off to you. So let's jump into the main menu and see what you get with Carlisle Volume 4. So here we go, we're in the main menu and let's take a little look at what Carlisle Volume 4 brings to the game then. So if we go in release order and go all the way back to Great Western Express and you jump into the main menu, go to the standard one and go to the 66. If you go right to the bottom, you've got a nice new 66 there of the 10 variants, which is Carlisle Military. So if we jump into that, you can see the 6 new military services. So yeah, you got a couple of services that pretty much do full line runs from Acton to Reading. So you can do, you know, half an hour on Great Western Express. We also get a couple of scenarios on the Great Western Express, so if we jump into this and go right to the bottom, you can see we've got 3 new scenarios there. What's interesting is that 2 of them are around about an hour and a half long for a relatively short route, so a lot of fun to be had there. Jumping into the other route that Carlisle Volume 4 brings gameplay to is the West Coast Main Line Preston Carlisle. So if you jump into that, you can see we've got a new timetable on this one. What's quite interesting is the sheer amount of difference in services. So you can see that's got 594, that's got 617, so that's almost what, 20? Something, is that 23 new services, something like that. If we jump into it, what's quite interesting with this is that you can run it with a Class 47, which is very cool. So if we have a little look at the intercity one, for example, and then we type in military into here, you can see we've got a load of new services. So the services on West Coast Main Line Preston Carlisle are a little bit longer, ranging around about 2 hours. So we're going to stream this and it's going to be a fun little journey, but you've definitely got a lot more gameplay on West Coast Main Line over Shap. Of course, similar to Great Western Express, if you jump into the scenarios, we've got 3 new scenarios there as well. One of them going to Haitian, which is quite interesting. And yeah, that's pretty much everything you get with Carlisle Volume 4. You get quite a bit of gameplay with this one and it looks quite interesting. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. So here we go, I've jumped into West Coast Main Line Preston Carlisle. I thought we're going to do a little bit of a run on this route and then we'll also have a little look on Great Western Express as well. So I've jumped into 6G34 Longtown MOD to Bicester. So let's get started and get ourselves set up, shall we? So let's put the key in there, that's all good, this is fine. We can put that into forwards, that's all good. And I think that's pretty much it, I think. Do we need to release any brakes? Yeah, no, that's fine, that's all good. Lights, can't forget the lights. Right, how do you turn them on? They're over here somewhere. That's not right. Marker light, there you go, that's one. Is that another one? There we go, cool. Look at this looks stunning. So as I was showing you in the intro, these are the little tank looking things. These look really good to be fair. Look nice and cool. It's obviously something different. We've had like, you know, intermodal and all sorts of other bits and bobs, but we've not had anything quite like this before. Of course, one thing to note is that none of these tanks have any weapons on top of them. I can imagine that kind of makes sense as to why they're not on there. I mean, in reality, did they detach them anyway? I don't know. But still, they look very cool. Nice, cool looking tank little machine things. And yeah, this is a fairly lengthy service. So we are here at Kingmore. I think this is just north of Carlisle. So we're going to take this as far as Carlisle, only a couple of miles. And then, yeah, 2.5 miles. And then we'll jump into Great Western Express. So should we do some thrash? I think we should. Right, let's go. Let's go to Carlisle. Full beans it, please. Full beans it. Lovely stuff. Here we go. Oh, it's having a bit of a struggle. It's having a little bit of a struggle. We need some sand. Some sand, please. There we go. We're on the move. Cool. Obviously, because it's quite a heavy train, it takes a bit of a moment for it to get going. But here we go. A couple of tones. Lovely stuff. This looks really cool. So is this based off some actual movements? I can imagine it would be. Yeah, this looks really good. Obviously, these cargo line packs have brought in some interesting types of services. Obviously, we've got now military, intermodal, all sorts of different bits and bobs. I think it's quite interesting from like a UK freight perspective because, you know, the UK is not really massive for like freight stuff, is it? So the fact that they've been able to make 4 gameplay packs now and bring something different each time, it's quite cool. Oh, come on, a bit more throttle. We can get up to 25 in a minute. Is this the main line? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, this looks like the main line, or is that the main line? I'm not too sure. Because, I mean, this would carry on north towards Glasgow, I think. One thing I find really cool with this is that in the timetable, Obviously it says it's going from like one MOD to another, which is really interesting because obviously up until now we've only been able to transport freight from like a yard to, you know, sometimes to industries and whatever else. So it's quite interesting to be able to add a different element of like an endpoint or a destination, let's say. And of course, if you like your freight, you'll like this. The cargo line packs have been quite popular up until now. Probably this one's going to be people's favourite because it's just completely different to what we've seen before. Right, this looks like we're veering onto the main line now, so should we get back into the cab? I think so. Obviously we're not here to see the 47, we've seen the 47 before, we're here to see the wagons. Right, any moment now we can get up to 25 mile an hour, so not exactly rocket speeds, but certainly quicker than what we were going. This is quite interesting as well because I've not actually done any services from Kingmore. We can go to 25 any minute now. So there we go, there's the 25, 4 beans all the way. Nice bit of thrash, lovely stuff. Let's go right up to the 47. And a couple of tones as well, why not? Very nice indeed. I like it a lot. Sounds very nice. But yeah, like I was saying, I've never actually done any services from Kingmore. Obviously it's a fair few miles out of Carlisle, so I think if you've done the freight, you've done stuff around here, but I don't really touch freight. And I mean, the cargo line packs don't really fully appeal to me, but I can see why people like them, and they are interesting, to be fair. Oh, we've got some stuff going on here. We've got a 47 there, got some stuff. Is that an 87 over there? It is indeed. We've also got some 101s. It's nice and busy up here, isn't it? So would you actually have done like some shunting services up here? Because I've never done any shunting services. That'd be quite cool to know. Right, we're going a bit too quick here. I think one thing I would have really liked to have seen is maybe some services hauled with the 87. Right, we need to slow down. I'm actually going to go back into the cab to make sure we do stop. I can imagine it's approach control though, because that likes to sting me sometimes. There we go, the signal's changed. I told you it likes to get me, but we need to go down to 20 anyway. I'm coming to a stop at Carlisle, because it's only a little look, because I thought, you know, if we're going to look at 2 routes, it'll take a bit of time. So we're only going to go into Carlisle, pull up, and then jump across the Great Western. But yeah, this has been pretty decent to look at. I think one thing I would have liked to have seen is maybe some 87 hauled military services. I think that would have been really cool because, well, 1, they'd be quicker, and 2, just adds that little bit more variety. I mean, I will admit it's not another 66 across the board. Obviously it is on the Great Western Express, but on this it's a 47, which is completely different for the cargo line packs. Right then, we're 0.7 out of Carlisle, and this is really pretty, to be fair, considering that not too much comes up here. It's very interesting. Like I say, I've never looked up here before. To be fair, I think as well, from all the services I've seen, I think they all do pretty much Preston to Kingmore. There's no shorter services. I think that's probably one other thing I would have liked to have seen, maybe a service that is kind of similar to that that scenario, really, that goes down to Morecambe, just to kind of split it up a little bit. And here we are on the approach into Carlisle. Oh, what a wonderful station, what a wonderful route. This is a really, really good route. I mean, to be fair, it's a good job we're coming to a stop in Carlisle anyway, because it's a red, so obviously we don't want to spad straight away, do we? If this was a full line service down to Preston, we would have failed it straight away. There we go, a bit of thrash as we approach into Carlisle. Why not? Why not, eh? Right then, let's jump back into the cab as we approach into Carlisle, just to make sure we stop properly. We don't want to spad, we don't want to cause any chaos, do we? Got a 101 in the platform there. Couple of tones. Is that an 08 as well? And here we go, let's get slowed down for Carlisle. Obviously the objective has just changed down to Preston, but we're not going that far today, I can tell you that for sure. So let's get stopped here. Very cool indeed, very cool indeed. Let's stop there. And there we go. I was going to say let's unlock the doors, but we obviously can't do that because it's a freight service. So that was a little look at the military services on the West Coast Main on over Shap. So let's jump into Great Western Express and have a little run on there. And just like that, we're here on the Great Western Express, jumping into 6A49 Shuburyness to Bicester. So let's get started and get ready to go, shall we? So let's set up a class 66. So let's get the reverser in. There we go. Go and put that into forwards. Excellent. Is that all on? That's all good. That's fine. That's all good. We won't release the brakes just yet. Let's turn the headlights on. Let's do that one. Awesome stuff. And there we go. Here we go. This is the military services on the Great Western Express with the Jeep looking things. So this is interesting because this is completely different to the services that we had on West Coast Main on over Shap. Obviously they were all tanks, these are all sort of like military vehicles. Very cool looking, very well modelled as well. One thing I hope is as we go along, do they like move around a bit? That'd be interesting. But yeah, this is the Great Western Express. We're here just outside of Acton Main Line. So we're going to probably take this as far as, we can go as far as West Drayton. 8.5 miles. We'll do that. That should be fine because we can get up to some decent speed. So shall we do that? Let's release the brakes and let's get going, shall we? So they're released. So let's apply some beans. Awesome stuff. Come on then. It's thinking about it. Obviously the 66 isn't as good as the 47, I don't think. I think the 47 is much better. Right then, I can see movement. Here we go. So I realised I'd not released my brakes properly because I'm stupid. I don't know how to drive freight trains. So here we go. We're on the move. Right. Some gentle power. Gentle power does it now. These look really, really cool. Look at these. These are insane. Yeah, here we go. This is certainly shifting better than the 47, but then again, the 47 was subject to like a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, so maybe if we would have been able to go onto the full West Coast main line for a bit, we would have got up some decent speeds. And here we go, approaching onto the main line. Look at this. This is really cool. This is looking really, really cool, to be fair. I think one thing I definitely would have liked to have seen is maybe like a mixture of vehicle types. So obviously the Jeeps and the tanks, that would have been quite cool, but I can see why they're all sort of like in separate consists. It makes sense. And just like that, we can get up to 60 mile an hour. So shall we do it? Shall we full beans it? See how quick we can get the class 66 up to. Let's go. Let's go. And just like that, we can get up to 70 mile an hour. This is going to be incredible. Obviously, this one's a bit more high speed than the previous little run we had on West Coast Main on Overshap, but this is very, very cool indeed. What I really like with these packs is that they've kind of seamlessly worked their way into Great Western Express. Obviously, with some routes, they've kind of had to like make their own timetables, but these have kind of just like been able to be placed into the route, and it's really, really cool. And it's quite cool that after many years, we've been able to add more services to this route. I mean, how old is this route now? 7, 8 years old? So very cool that there's still new services coming out for it. Let's get a little flyby shot, shall we? Look at them, they look very cool. Very cool indeed. I can imagine if you were train spotting and you saw this, it'd be a very cool shot indeed. Look at them go. Oh, we're flying through a station here. What's this station here? Let's have a little look. This is Hanwell. There you go. Off it goes. This looks really cool, to be fair. Very different. What's cool as well is that with this route getting an upgrade, these services will look really nice. Obviously this is the old lighting, so they still look pretty decent. Got 166 going past there, look at that. Off it goes. I do really like this route. I'm looking forward to the overhaul, I can't wait. Oh, we're flying through what looks to be Hayes and Harlington, I think. I think so. There's a train on the left hand side there. Is that flying through? I think it is. Is it? It certainly looks like it. Yeah, there you go. There's a fast train going through. Oh, lots of diesel action. I like diesel action. So does anyone actually know why they've chosen these two routes in particular for these gameplay packs? I would imagine, I don't know, it's because they have some form of significance, or they actually ran on these routes. So let me know. I find it quite interesting that it's not brought anything to Midland Mainline. I suppose that's a good thing with these gameplay packs, is that obviously you don't have to have just Midland Mainline for them to be usable. Obviously they go on to Great Western Express, now West Coast Main Line over Shap, West Coast Main Line South, you know, they go on to different routes, so it's one of them cool little things that it kind of beefs up all the UK routes that we've got so far. I'll tell you what, I think this is my favourite one so far. Obviously I've not really played too much of the first two, but this one is cool. It's just interesting and it's different. Right, we need to slow down because we're going way too quick, and we're also 1.7 miles out of West Drayton, so let's slow right down. Slow right down for the station. Obviously, I know it's a go via, but we're going to stop there anyway. Oh, I've slowed down a little bit too much there, haven't I? Right, let's apply some more beans. I've slowed down way too much. The brakes are quite good on this, aren't they? Oh, we've got a HST going past over there. Look at that. HSTs are very, very cool. Very cool indeed. Right then, we're on the approach into West Drayton, and I tell you what, I feel like this is going to be my favourite cargo line pack. Obviously, I didn't really play too much of the first two, but the third one was alright. Didn't really add much in my opinion, but this one, it adds something completely different. Obviously, you know, sort of vehicles and wagons we've never seen before. I mean, of course, they all add their own sorts of things. Obviously, they all add different wagons and services and whatever else and different sort of gameplay, but this one's just cool. I like it. Another thing I like with this cargo line pack is that it also comes to a different route. With that being West Coast Main Line over Shap. It's very cool that there's obviously half-an-hour services on this route and an almost 2-hour-long runs on West Coast Main Line over Shap. So there's a lot of gameplay here if you think of it time-wise. And like I've said before, I don't think these are overly priced. I mean, if you like your UK freight and you like your scenarios, and they also bring in timetabled services as well, then they're certainly worth it. And a lot of people seem to like them. Anyway, with that said, let's release the throttle and just roll into West Drayton. There's no red signal here, so it's okay if we overshoot. There's a lot of blue cars over there, isn't there? Anyway, this has been really fun. I've really enjoyed this. So let me know in the comments what you think of this cargo line pack and what's been your favourite one so far. And again, like I said in Volume 3, what other sort of cargo line packs would you like to see? Let me know. Anyway, with that said, we're on the approach into West Drayton, so let's get into the cab and focus at stopping, because otherwise we'll have to just keep going to Reading, and that will take a long time. And here we go, this is West Drayton, so let's apply a little bit of beans, not too many beans, because the brakes are pretty good on this thing. Got a 166 in the platform there, which looks very, very nice indeed. And let's stop there, why not? Because we're not an actual service, so we don't have to stop perfectly, do we? That 166 is leaving too, very nice indeed. And there we go, that was my first look at Carlisle Volume 4 Military. I tell you what, that's been a lot of fun. Obviously you all know the deal with Carlisle packs by now, so if you've liked the other three, you'll certainly like this one. If you like your scenarios, you like interesting freight runs, I'd say definitely get it. Of course, if you own the two routes that this brings services to, there's a lot of gameplay here, so take it as you will, and I genuinely think it's a good bit of fun. So now that we've safely driven two different military services, I'm going to leave that video there. So thank you all for watching this video. I've been Richie, and I'll hopefully see you all next time. Bye bye.